Okay, as you might recall from chapter 7, when we were factoring, perfect square trinomials are a trinomial in the form of a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. We're going to use these perfect square trinomials in order to solve quadratics by completing the square. Okay, so we got a squared, we got b squared, so we could take the square root of a, the square root of b, multiply it by 2, and we have our perfect square trinomial, right? Do you remember that? So let's factor these just so that we can refresh our memory. There's a, and here's c, but this b term is going to be 2 times the square root of a square root of c, right? So the square root of a is x, square root of c is 4. I wrote a square. Remember that? Yes, yes. If we put it in the box, x plus 4, x plus 4, x squared, 4x, 4x, 16. 8x, 16. I really hope you remember this. Okay, so we're going to move to the next one. We know we have an x. Uh-oh, this is a minus sign. That's not plus. It's going to be minus. X minus the square root of 121, 11 squared. Over here, the square root of x squared is x. Square root of 36 is 6, and that's a minus. Easy B Nation, right? Do you remember these? Okay, there is also another pattern to these that we can use when we're looking to complete the square. The other pattern is that this, the b, the coefficient in front of the x, not the x squared, the x, divided by 2 squared equals c when it's a perfect square trinomial. b, the coefficient in front of the x, divided by 2 squared equals c. See that? This is called completing the square if we want to use these perfect square trinomials. See, at some point you might want to come back and write this part into your notes. But let's do a little bit of practice first so that it makes sense to you before we put it in your notes. So in order to solve quadratics by completing the square, we're going to need to figure out this c, right? We're going to have to keep figuring that out. b divided by 2 squared equals c. Well, this b is 2. 2 divided by 2 squared equals 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. b here is negative 6. So we have negative 6 divided by 2 squared. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3 squared. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Easy enough? This is just the first step, but we're going to practice the first step before we go on and put it all together. Okay, last two. Do you remember the formula? b divided by 2 squared. b divided by 2 squared. b here is 12. 12 divided by 2 squared. 12 divided by 2 is 6 squared. 6 squared is 36. Now we have a perfect square trinomial. Negative 5 divided by 2 squared. Negative 5 divided by 2 is negative 2.5 squared. Negative 2.5 squared is 6.25. Now we have a perfect square trinomial. Okay, let's practice this for just a second, and then we'll come back and we'll learn the next thing.